Hey guys, it's Michelle Tam from Nom Paleo, and welcome to my kitchen. Every Wednesday I come on live and I show you how to cook something with my two boys, Ollie, who's right here, and Owen, who is behind the camera. And he reads out all the questions that you guys have so I can answer them. And behind the scenes is Lauren Wade, our master builder, who will type all the answers to questions that you guys ask, because I can't see it because I will be doing a cooking demo. So today, to kick off 2019, we are making a 30-minute Whole30 friendly, keto-friendly, paleo sheet pan supper. And it is my sheet pan, meatballs, and broccolini supper, which is the latest recipe on my blog, Nom Paleo. If you're doing a Whole30, I'm going to be posting every single day on my blog, Nom Paleo, with tips, tricks, and new recipes, and this is one of the first ones. So this was a super simple recipe. It's super tasty, the kids like it, so it's kid friendly and super easy. So I think everybody likes it. Oh, and just like every week, one of you viewers who are watching the live broadcast that asks a question or just says hello in the comments, one of you will be picked to win a special prize today. And today, you can win a Mini Michelle action figure, a signed copy of Ready or Not cookbook, our first cookbook, Nom Paleo Food for Humans, our calendar, one and done, a 2019 wall calendar with stickers. I have socks I'll give you. So it'll just be a huge Nom Paleo swag pack that you can refer to all month if you are doing like some sort of paleo challenge. So I'm just gonna take my rings off because this is a recipe that will get a little dirty. Are there any questions, Owen?
No questions yet. It's mostly just people saying hi.
Hello. Hi. Again, I'm making my sheet pan, meatballs, and broccolini supper. Super fast, super easy. All you need is a half sheet pan. People always ask me, what kind of sheet pan do you buy? And I actually just buy the one that is the highest rated on Amazon. And this is Nordic Wear. I know there's also a bunch of other brands, like I think America, there's one that's called like USA America Pan or whatever, but I like this one. So I have a pound of broccolini, and broccolini are kind of the long broccoli that have like kind of a longer, skinnier stem. And you can find this at most grocery stores. Some people have said they've had a hard time finding it, but normally they're in bunches like this, in like kind of half-pound bunches. But you should be able to find them. But if you can't, you can always use broccoli, you can use cauliflower. Just make sure you cut the florets a little bit thinner because these stems are thin, and we want everything to cook at the same and be finished cooking at the same time. Because like the meatballs that I'm going to be making will take about 20 minutes. The broccolini with these thin stems will also take about 20 minutes. So all I do is I grab my sheet pan because I don't want to make anything else dirty. Oh, I already took the top off. I was like, how come I can't take the top off? And so I'm just going to put on like about 2 tablespoons of olive oil. This is extra virgin olive oil. You can use avocado oil. You can use melted ghee. You can use whatever fat of choice you like, but I like olive oil because this is a very kind of Italian-y dish, yes?
So are you using any parchment?
No parchment on this. Sometimes I use parchment because it does make it easier to clean, but I recently read an article that said that things brown a lot better if you don't have anything blocking your food's contact with the rimmed baking sheet. So, you know, if you put foil or parchment on it, it does make cleanup easier, but things don't brown quite as well. And for this one, I kind of like things to kind of get browned and charred, and it's not super hard to clean up, so I don't put anything on this. Okay, so I have a pound of broccolini where I trimmed the ends. I drizzled on some olive oil, and then I'm going to add the secret ingredient, a teaspoon of our magic mushroom powder. This is available at all brick and mortar Whole Foods. If you can't find it, sometimes it's at the meat counter, sometimes it's on the spice aisle. You can call customer service or ask customer service where it is. They can order it for you, but again, they'll only stock it if you guys ask for it because it is a supply and demand thing. And I know a lot of people have said, hey, there's a new mushroom umami seasoning at Trader Joe's. Is that your magic mushroom powder? And the answer is no, it is not my magic mushroom powder. And if you look at the ingredients, the first 3 ingredients don't even have mushrooms, whereas our ingredients, the first ingredient is salt, and then mushrooms, and then dried spices. So I don't know how much mushroom is actually in that magic, whatever they call their blend.
So
all I'm doing here, I'm just tossing it, and it's seasoning the broccolini, and it's also kind of greasing the bottom of the sheet pan. But you just kind of make sure it all gets in the florets. Yeah, what's your question?
So there are a lot of questions regarding broccoli and broccolini. What's the difference between broccoli and broccolini, and where do you get broccolini?
So broccolini are just these. I think it's a variety of broccoli where the stem is long and thin. And I just buy it at the grocery store. Like this, I bought at New Seasons, but you can buy them anywhere. If you can't find it, ask the produce section. But I've also seen it, at Kroger's and Freddy's and Whole Foods. It's basically in most places. Just look a little bit past the cauliflower and the broccoli, and you'll probably find it. If you can't find it, it's no big deal. Just use broccoli, but cut the stems and the florets so they kind of are thinner, so it'll cook in about 20 minutes, just like the rest of the stuff will take.
Are you trimming the stems for the broccoli?
No, all I do is I just cut the very end, because the very end of it is sometimes a little bit dry, but otherwise it's good. It's because these are, I think, younger, because they're like thinner, and so the whole stalk is edible. Okay, so this is all I do is I kind of spread it out so that it is a single layer. I seasoned it with some magic mushroom powder. If you don't have magic mushroom powder, no big deal. You can just use Diamond Crystal kosher salt. Just use a teaspoon of that. If you are using regular salt or a finer grain salt or Morton's kosher salt, use half a teaspoon instead of 1 teaspoon. But the magic mushroom powder, I just use in place of salt in all of my favorite recipes, because it does have salt, but it also has powdered porcini mushrooms, which just makes it super, super tasty. And so that's, it amps up the flavor. So what I have here is, in the recipe I asked for 1.5 pounds of Italian sausage. But because I have another one in the oven, I'm just using 1 pound. And all you do, so this is just the bulk Italian sausage that I bought at the grocer. This I bought at New Seasons because their Italian sausage is Whole30 friendly. There's no weird stuff, there's no weird oils. It's just pork and spices and herbs. But basically, you just get the bulk sausage. If you can't find it bulk and you can find it in links, the uncooked Italian sausage in links that's compliant, all you do is you just put a little slit in the casing and you pop out the meat. And so you can buy those, but if it's already bulk, I like that because then I can kind of do whatever I want with it. So basically, what I tell you guys to do is to form, if you have 1.5 pounds meat, you form 24 meatballs. And so you can use a little ice cream scoop, like a medium disher, or if you have 1.5 pounds meat, you divide it into 3 equal pieces, and then you keep on dividing those in 2. So you start with 3, and then you get 6, and then you get 12, and then you end up with 24 even meatballs. But in my case, I only have 1 pound of meat, so I'm just going to divide it in half, and divide this half in half again, because I'm gonna end up, I think, with 16, if I'm doing my math, which is about right. Because you want meatballs that are about 1.5 pounds, not a pound, 1.5 inches in diameter. Oh shoot! Owen, can you help me take out the?
What? What happened?
Oh, I have a thing that's ready to pull out. So just go in that one. Yes, thank you. And then you pull out the. See, Owen's like, why am I in front of the camera?
Why am I here?
I don't think it was that. I think it was that.
No, it's that. I know, that's the timer.
What? Oh.
Oh. You can do it, Owen.
You'll see how terrible I am at doing
No,
things.
you are. Just pull it out and then plop it on top. So this is one that's already ready because I didn't want you guys to like waiting and waiting for me. Awesome, Owen.
I believe you made me do this.
Fantastic. Thank you. All right. Now back behind the camera. All right. So this, I'm just kind of breaking them in half. So this I'm gonna, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So if I divide each one in 2, how many will I have?
16.
Oh, you heard me tell the answer earlier.
No, you did.
Yes. All right. Oh, and so if you cannot find compliant sausage, in my recipe on nomonpaleo.com for these sheet pan meatballs and broccolini supper, I have a recipe for how you can make your own Italian sausage really simply with some ground pork. If you don't like pork, you can totally do, some sort of ground poultry or ground goat or something else, and it'll still taste delicious. I just don't think, just make sure you don't go with a super lean ground meat and you'll be okay.
So can you substitute the broccolini with broccoli?
Yeah, just make sure that the stem is, I feel like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. What? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15. How'd that happen? What'd I do? By you guys.
Sorry.
They asked it, like I'm looking and they've asked it a bunch of times.
What? The broccoli?
The broccolini.
Yes, you can totally use broccoli. In fact, I addressed that in the blog post. So just go to nomonpaleo.com. And that is one of the questions that I addressed. So once you have these all in 1.5 inch kind of diameter meatballs, you roll them together and you plop them wherever there's kind of like an empty space on the sheet pan. And then you want to preheat your oven to either 425 or 400 degrees with convection, because convection just means there's a fan in the back of your oven that blows the air, and so it's more even.
So will this, the meatball recipe work with your other like meatball-like recipes like the wontons?
Yeah, because I think my wonton meatballs also cook in about the same amount of time. Just make sure that the diameter of your meatballs are about 1.5 inches, and they cook in about 20 minutes. And you have vegetables that will also cook in about 20 minutes. Like, don't put like super giant fat broccoli stalks. Just make sure they're kind of like this, and they will be okay. A good thing that would probably go with wonton meatballs is probably some bok choy that you can cut up and also roast. That would probably be a really tasty combination. But like, this is so simple. The hardest part of this is probably finding compliant sausage, but it's not as hard as you think. I've seen it at Whole Foods, I've seen it at New Seasons, I've seen it at the farmer's market. Bel Campo near me has a compliant breakfast sausage. So it doesn't have to necessarily be Italian sausage. It can be any type of sausage. And you can make your own sausage, because I have a recipe in this blog post for sheet pan meatballs and broccolini that tells you exactly how to make meatballs really simply. So it's a very simple thing. And it's really, and you literally pop this in the oven for a total of about 15 to 20 minutes. And at the halfway mark, which is like, 10 minutes or so, you just kind of rotate the tray so that if your oven isn't super even, everything is evenly cooked. And you just want to space out the meatballs so that it is kind of tucked in a little hole somewhere. And that's it, right? That looks pretty good. Is there any other spot? Sometimes I have a tendency to stick things right next to each other. Like right there. And you can and it's kind of neat. It's almost like you have these little nests and you're like tucking in these little meatball eggs. All right.
Did you add any seasoning to the sausage?
No. So the reason why I tell people to get sausage as opposed to just ground meat is because sausage is already really well seasoned, and so you don't have to do anything. You just roll it up and you put it on the sheet pan and you bake it. But if you make your own sausage, I have a recipe. If you just go to the meatballs, the sheet pan meatballs and broccolini recipe, and it tells you how to make it, but I also tell people to fry a teeny tiny patty of the finished meatball mixture just to taste for seasoning. Because if you need more seasoning, you can season it before you roll them all up and put them on the sheet pan.
And you could use different meats?
Yes, you can totally use different meats. If you don't, here, let me wash my hands. And I will. If you are making your own sausage, or even if you're buying, pre-made sausage, you can use chicken, you can use ground turkey, you can use ground beef. Just make sure it's not super duper lean because they just won't taste as good. But I'm gonna pop this in the oven. You can either do 400 convection or 425 regular for about 20 minutes total. And at the 10-minute mark, you just flip it. And so I have one here that Owen helped me take out. I'm gonna set the timer because I don't want it to overcook. All right, so watch out, this is hot, Ollie. So this one was cooking. I popped it in like 10 minutes before I got on Facebook Live. And you can see that the broccolini kind of shrinks up a little bit. So even though it seemed like there was all of this greens, it kind of shrinks up a little bit. The meatballs are nice and browned on the outside, and they are ready to go.
So how many does this serve?
This serves about 4. So this one, I only used about a pound of meat, but in the recipe, I recommend 1.5 pounds because I think, like I eat a little more than a 1/4 pound of meat. But if this isn't enough vegetables for you, you can totally serve this with some cauliflower rice. You can make a big salad to go with this. You can also spiralize some zoodles. So what I have here is just some marinara sauce that I just bought. You can also make marinara sauce because it is a quick sauce to make, and I have a link to a recipe if you cannot find compliant marinara sauce. But these days you can find compliant marinara sauce very easily that tastes really good. So I like Rayo's. Thrive Market has a tomato basil sauce that's really good. I actually linked to a whole bunch of them in the post, like all the different ones that I like. Like there's one called the Napoli. Oh, you want to help me?
Okay.
Here.
Yeah, you want to do
I know,
something?
you've just been sitting there. All right, so just spoon a little bit on each little meatball.
Okay.
You can do it, Ollie.
Yay!
Oh, yes. And so this is it. This was super fast, super easy. Like when we ate this, you liked it, right? And we're gonna eat it tonight. You can, if you aren't doing a Whole30, you can do it on here. Let me do it.
See, you got the job.
No, all you do is see here. I'll show you how I do it. You just tap it. Each one just gets a little bit, and it's okay if it gets on greens, but it doesn't take very long. And if you have picky kids who are like, I don't want sauce on mine, don't do it. You can leave it off, and it's no big deal. All right, so I'm gonna have the kids try this, just like I always have people try it.
So how are these meatballs as leftovers?
Really good. It's like a really easy, like I made 2 trays. But yeah, this is something that you could make and then pack in your lunch. You can reheat it, you can eat it cold. I think it tastes really good. All right, Molly, this is really hot.
Did you put any oil or non-stick spray in the pan?
Nope. I tossed the broccolini with the magic mushroom powder and about 2 tablespoons of olive oil, but as you guys saw, I just drizzled it. And as I'm tossing it, it coats the whole sheet pan, so you don't have to add extra oil or anything. All right, Owen, I'm gonna give this to you. But it really does only take 20 minutes to cook. You can heat up the marinara sauce while it's baking in the oven. You can throw together a salad while it's baking in the oven. The hardest part is just rolling the meatballs, but even that's not that big of a deal. If you can only find cooked Whole30 compliant sausage, just throw the whole links onto your sheet pan, and that takes about 15 to 20 minutes to cook. And so there's lots and lots of different options. And cleanup is a breeze because you just have to wash this and then the pot for the marinara sauce. See? Super duper. Any other questions?
Should we get winner?
Oh yes. All right. So I'm gonna have Lauren pick one winner who's gonna win both copies of our cookbooks that I will sign and personalize myself. The 2019 One and Done wall calendar that comes with stickers and all the recipes in here. Each month has a one pan, one pot, or Instant Pot recipe. An action figure, socks, and a bunch of really fun goodies. So if you're doing a Whole30 and you need inspiration, just make sure you're following me on Facebook, on Instagram, on nomnompaleo.com. I'll be posting something new every single day. So yesterday it was these sheet pan meatballs and broccolini. Today I had a whole post on how I use the Instant Pot to help me make a whole bunch of Whole30 basics that kind of make it easy for me to eat. Tomorrow we're gonna have a whole post on one of my favorite vegetable side dishes that's Whole30 compliant. So you just tune in every day. Any other questions? How was that?
That's good.
See, everybody's happy. I'm happy because this is super simple. And then I'll have an extra one for breakfast, because that's another thing. People are like, what do you eat for breakfast? And as Melissa Hartwig, the creator of Whole30 says, breakfast you should just think of as meal one. It can be whatever you eat for lunch and dinner. It doesn't have to be like a special breakfast food like cereal or pancakes or anything. If you don't like eggs, you don't have to have eggs. Just think of it as another meal that you would incorporate vegetables.
So, our winner is Kelly Ollison.
Yay, Kelly!
Yay!
You can either DM me on this Facebook page, or Lauren will reach out to you and tell me how you want me to personalize your books, and give me your address and I'll send all that stuff myself. So thank you guys and have a great week. We will be back next week cooking something else that's Whole30 friendly. But have a great Whole30. Bye guys.